How resellers ruin hobbies. Yes, the scalpers, basically. The scalpers that they think they're entrepreneurs, but they're really not entrepreneurs.
Picture this. You're a parent and your kid has been begging to open some Pokemon packs forever. So, for Christmas, you run to Target to finally buy a booster box so they can do the epic pack openings they keep seeing on TikTok. But then you get there and the shelves are empty. And on your way out, you see a balding weirdo with a giant cart full of booster boxes checking out. You have just been scalped. This is a problem that many have talked about, especially in regards to Pokemon, but
This is so sad to be seeing a bunch of middle-aged bald men or so just literally just straight up scalping cards for kids, dude. Because they think, dude, it's so sad, to be honest. Mine, it depends. If I know him as a she, I will call him a she, vice versa. I'm like, I just literally just said like, if it's my first interaction, that's why.
scalpers and
I've had my
resellers have
first
gotten
interactions with them or
increasingly
so,
worse
and
as
they had
internet
issues with
markets
me
have
saying
grown and as more industries have been targeted. So
I'm
to
saying from my
understand
personal
just how
experience on the
prevalent
internet,
scalping has become in the modern
mostly
age
in VR
and
chat.
how many industries have been affected, we have to understand how scalping became so huge in the first place. And I think I've figured out a pretty big reason for it that a lot of people have not addressed. A scalper is defined by Merriam-Webster as a slaughterhouse worker who skins animals' heads. Oh, wait, sorry, that's the wrong one. Any of various machines or devices used in scalping grain. No, still not that. Oh, here we go. A speculator who obtains and resells something, theater tickets for example, at a price usually greatly above the stated rates. Resale markets have practically been around forever in various forms. You buy something, then you don't want it anymore or use it anymore, so you sell it. But ever since the inception of the internet,
but then like when it comes to like resellers and stuff like that, right? They don't really sell it at an enormous amount of like, you know, of money or so, like the percentage difference or so when you bought it, or when you're selling like used things too, it's usually reduced price. That's how that works. But these people don't do that, to be honest.
they have grown a lot. From websites like eBay and Facebook Marketplace to more niche platforms like StockX, Depop, and more. The point is, reselling has always been a thing, but now it's a little bit more than just your uncle who's trying to sell his old lawnmower. It's now a multi-billion-dollar industry full of people trying to chase a bag. Markets that used to be fun, like sneaker collecting, have become another soulless money printer. Pokemon cards went from a cool game or collectibles as a kid to now a retirement fund for guys in their 20s to dump their hard-earned money into. Regardless of the market, all reselling is pretty much the same.
They don't look like 20-year-olds,
when and why did it ever become a problem? Well, it all usually starts with some form of genuine interest in a hobby that has limited supply and lots of demand. After a certain amount of time, when the interest gains enough popularity, people then try to monetize it. At first, this isn't always a bad thing, especially since the early monetizers are also usually fans of what they're pushing. Think about vintage clothes, for example. As years go by and a shirt becomes more and more rare, hobbyists and people interested in vintage clothing are going to be more willing to pay more for it. But once their efforts start gaining more traction, that's when the resellers come out of the woodwork. These are usually people who are just in it strictly for the money and have no interest really in what they're selling. They're free agents who buy directly from retailers. Instead of offering a service or legitimate value, they manipulate retailer inventory and abuse discount codes to create a profit margin for themselves. Many of these resellers also use automation tools or spam accounts to beat out not just other resellers, but also genuine customers, often forcing the genuine customer to later buy from the reseller at a much higher price, since they never had a chance of competing on the retail market. You could kind of argue that a reseller is similar to a parasite, with everyone else involved in the supply chain being hurt or put at a disadvantage while the reseller reaps the rewards. But why does it feel like reselling is bigger now more than ever before? Well, obviously the internet has had a hand to play, as websites like eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and now more niche ones like Whatnot and others have been created as avenues for digital markets. However, one thing that I've seen a lot of people not really talking about is this hustler mentality that I've seen being pushed online more than ever before. I covered this in my hustle culture video, but there has been a huge culture of fake gurus telling you how to get rich. And you can bet that there's a plethora of gurus selling you the dream of getting rich off of collectibles.
You want to know something? These gurus are fake because you want to know something? The actual real guru who's actually making hustling of money or so and making money would not be making videos. They would not waste their time actually be making videos. Those are the real people. I'm just saying. Especially those people who are like, who say that they're poor. You know, because there's like also videos on YouTube where they say like, oh, I'm poor and all this other stuff. You want to know something? They're busy actually trying to do something to not be poor. They're not actually trying to make videos. There's a huge difference, you know. Know your difference.
Do $10,000 a week selling Pokemon cards, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it.
How you gonna start reselling in 2026 the right way so you can run up some easy money? Explain in only 1 minute. First, you're gonna need at least $50, but the more money you have, the more money you can make, because that means you will be able to buy more stuff to resell.
I'll show y'all how to resell in 2026 the right way. Let's get into it. I managed to get my dream car all just from doing reselling. As you guys can see, this car is over $140,000.
Here is the easiest way to resell sneakers, explained in the easiest of terms. This is basically how I made $10,000 in the first summer I started reselling sneakers, by basically doing this, and I still do it to this day.
All I gotta say is these guys are a bunch of losers who literally just don't want to get a job. That's it. They're just a bunch of losers. That's all I gotta say about it. They're not entrepreneurs. They like to call themselves they're entrepreneurs, but they're not entrepreneurs.
There are a lot of different ways to start reselling sneakers, but I'm gonna go over what I think is the easiest way to get started.
These gurus have been and are encouraging an entire generation of people to
Right.
think that they're some sort of business savant, when in reality they're just middlemen. It even worked on me briefly as a kid when I started reselling shoes at like 15 years old, but don't worry guys, I didn't do that too long. I maybe sold 15 pairs tops. I wasn't ever that successful. Regardless, the whole reseller economy has led to a lot of hobbies, collectibles, or even live events being ruined. In the reseller game, a ton of major industries full of passionate fans have been affected. One of the most major examples that you'll hear is Pokemon cards, which is now somewhat of a modern day stock market for millennials. Pokemon blew up in the late 90s, attracting millions of fans who have nostalgic memories of playing the original Red and Blue games, or trading cards in the playground for that elusive shiny Charizard. They actually banned Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all that. Bakugan. Banned it all at my school because apparently it was starting too many fights. Since then, the brand has continued to explode through a ton of different avenues, like the Pokemon Go takeover in 2016. This is all great, except for where the cards are concerned. Because while mostly everything else has grown in a positive direction, the cards have taken an unexpected and unfortunate turn, and now are nearly impossible to get your hands on, especially with the new cards. All thanks to resellers and scalpers. Selling off your old Pokemon cards to collectors has always been part of the Pokemon hobby, just like with sports cards and other games as well. Even back in the day before scalpers, some cards would and could sell for thousands of dollars, but those were the rarest of the rare. Now with the resellers taking over, even new cards are valued at hundreds of dollars even before they've been released. If you don't know how Pokemon card packs work, basically you open a pack and hope you get lucky and get something super rare. Since the packs retail for a few bucks and could potentially pay out thousands or hundreds of thousands, there's a lot of financial gain to be had, which makes this the perfect environment for resellers. Because of the giant market formed around the cards, adults are grabbing them all up, leaving the kids who want to collect or even just play the game high and dry. There are systems set in place both online and in real life to limit people to buying a certain amount of boxes or cards. But as I'm sure many of you know, there are loopholes, there are bots, and there are a lot of ways around these systems. And the situation is just toxic, if not worse, at local stores, with scalpers hiding packs under displays or even fighting over who gets to buy them. To make things worse, most of these scalpers aren't even opening the packs because chances are they're not going to get something good, and there's more value in just leaving them all unopened. In many cases, they resell the unopened packs or booster boxes at crazy rates.
Oh my god, you must be some kind of loser or so to be buying that much Pokemon like boxes. What are those? Are those tins? They look like tins. Oh my god, you must be some kind of... Damn, that is some loser mentality, I'm not gonna lie, to be honest.
Maintaining the value through the potential of the unopened pack containing a rare card, when in reality, usually it's just duds, so it's a pretty big gamble. My staff have had customers threatening to come back and rip their heads off, says Ben Thayer, owner of Bath TCG, an independent shop specializing in trading card games. It's become quite unpleasant at times. I've heard of other stores where people have been attacked or there have been robberies. We've even seen people who buy our products and list them immediately on Facebook while still in our carrier bags, or sell it right outside the shop. We're even anxious to put stuff on the shelf for the public because we just don't want to entice that sort of behavior. We used to sell whole boxes of booster packs, but now we've had to stop doing that, and even place limits on the individual packs. And experiences like this are happening all over the world where Pokemon cards are being sold. What makes the situation even worse is the content promoting get-rich-quick schemes surrounding the cards, like I mentioned earlier. So not only are the resellers making money with the physical cards, but they're also making money from the content they put out around it. On top of that, YouTube...
You know, I'm really happy where I live, specifically where, like, this is not an actual issue that I have to deal with, you know? No, I don't like iPhones. I hate iPhones. I like Android phones a lot more. it's just so funny that like I see all these videos, right? I see all these videos, these scalpers and all this other stuff. Like I guess I technically did see a scalper, but that was only like one time. It was like literally just one time, just one time. But like but then like that's about it though. I've never seen an actual scalper because I go to my local card shops, right? And they usually put a stop to it immediately. And there was only like probably like one store or that I know of where there was a dude or so that was putting in Pokemon packs or so in a box. That's what they did.
TikTok videos featuring exaggerated pack openings always go viral. So what used to be about collecting is now mostly about the value. And all the impressionable kids that are watching these are sold the dream of making millions on cards, when in reality, like gambling at casinos, most people are going to lose. People are opening these amazing cards on stream, but you don't know how many thousands of packs they've probably gone through or how much money they've spent. Adstire. So then they feed you all the good stuff, that dopamine hit, and you think, oh, I can do that. And then you spend a silly amount of money hoping to get one hit. Nowadays, the highly volatile market has led people to using apps which track their portfolio's live value, as well as turning to unethical practices, which would include selling fake cards or even opening and resealing packs after swapping out any rare cards. All of this has resulted in a much higher barrier to entry to play, which is the cost, which has left me with no one to play with. Look, I have this, this is my water deck with Palkia. I don't know if you guys can see that. This is my grass deck. Not very crazy, nothing too fun. But this is the best deck. This is my Mad Party deck. Dedenne, classic. And then my Gold Orangaroo, pretty dope. I don't know if you guys can see this, by the way. However, as you know, this is far from the only industry affected by resellers. Another prime example is with Laboos. For years, figurines like Funko Pops and other similar collectibles like plushies have sold.
I hate Funko Pops. I literally despise the shit out of it, dude. I hate Funko Pops, dude. I fucking despise those little things, dude. I don't know why that thing was so crazily popular, but it should have not been popular to the way how it is now.
Very well,
I don't know if it's
but
dead
nothing
now,
like
so
the recent Labubu
no
trend.
idea.
And one of the major reasons is because of the exclusivity, which was pumped heavily by the reseller market. For SoCal's Chalice Collectibles, what started as an $8,000 investment into the next potential viral trend exploded into a $240,000 monthly revenue stream. And across the world, similar vendors selling Labubus experienced the same phenomenon. As Labubus continued to grow in popularity to a point where consumer demand eclipsed the supply, resellers dove in head first. While some basic Labubus only sell for like $20 to $30, limited editions can be valued at hundreds or even thousands of dollars on resale platforms like StockX and eBay. For example, a rare first-gen Labubu sold at an auction for $150K. And while this is obviously an upper-tier sale, it was a statement for how big the trend had gotten. Companies have seen fads like this time and time again, like with Beanie Babies in the 90s.
Yeah, the
but
Beanie
as
Babies,
Chalice
yeah.
Collectibles co-owner Kenny So said, "We've never seen anything like this before." Labubus debuted on the scene in 2015, and by 2019 they were licensed and manufactured as toys. New collections drop every few months or so, and restocks typically happen on Thursdays through Pop Mart's official website. And at their peak, they would sell out in a
I'll be honest with you, I've never collected Labubus, and then I never thought they were really good or anything like that. I thought they weren't really that cute. I'm just saying. That's all I gotta say. I never thought they were cute at all. Sorry if I'm the different type of female, but I'm just saying, you know. I'd rather go buy me an actual figure instead of a Labubu.
matter of seconds.
I don't know, maybe a Supersonico one, maybe.
Yeah.
Since I don't even have one.
Yes, amazing. Really good job.
Labubu's got a lot of virality from TikTok videos of people opening their blind boxes, which, like the name suggests and similar to Pokemon cards, it's you open it and you don't know what you're going to get. It could be really good, but it could also be bad, which again kind of encourages this gambling trend we've been seeing as well. On TikTok, the hashtag Labubu has been used in over 3 million posts. Units on StockX and whatnot routinely sell out in a matter of seconds. Buyers are setting calendar alerts and prices keep climbing. For third-party marketplaces and sellers, Labubu has become a powerful revenue engine practically overnight. But but its success has also invited consumer frustration over shortages and counterfeits. At its peak, Laboos doubled Pop Mart's revenue, reaching around $2 billion.
Jesus Christ.
But like some other scalp products with less base, this would not last forever. Along with resellers and scalpers came counterfeiters, which is a dangerous combination for a business to be facing. And as you could probably imagine, these all had a negative impact on the demand.
Hey mom, I want a Labubu. Here you go. I got you a Pochugu. There you go. Be happy now. I don't want Pochugu. You're gonna like it whether one way or another. That's all I gotta say about that.
And today, the trend, which at one point dominated
It's
the
dead,
mainstream,
right?
has now returned to a fashion subculture. As Whatnot's VP of Categories and Expansion, Armin Wilson, said, Laboos are very crossed over with sneaker and streetwear culture, another industry that is infested with resellers.
I
One of the
see.
most classic examples of the reseller effect is in the vintage market. While thrifting to some degree has always been a thing,
Yeah.
like most of these examples, it has experienced a significant boom in the last decade or so. Early on, for many, it started as an affordable way to recycle used clothes, saving money and waste. However, more and more lately, combined with its resale market, thrifting has become a booming industry, worth about $55 billion alone in the United States in 2025.
God damn.
You know, I think a lot of people, especially in this country, like were kind of raised thinking like new and young equals better and old and used equals bad. That's not true at all, and we should be reusing these resources.
Yes, you can restore something. You can take that sweater with the hole in it and turn it into something that you would actually cherish and wear.
Give thrifting a chance because you just never know what you may find, and who doesn't love saving money and finding quality items for half the price.
And I'm sure, I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely noticed a trend from when I first started going to Goodwill and other vintage clothing stores to now, because prices have gone up quite a bit. But why is it getting
Oh,
so big?
really?
Thrifting, especially among the younger generation, I think became a little trendy, perhaps thanks to the hipsters, but it became very popular, and it gave people a cool, fun, and often cheap/sustainable way to find a unique style. Well, that's at least how things started. Today, thrifting, unless done firsthand, is just as exclusive,
you to
expensive,
follow.
and
Welcome.
scalped as many other forms of fashion.
Are you fucking for real? They're scalping that too? That's crazy. Thank God. You want to know something? Thank fucking God that my high school clothes still fit me to this day. Many millennia later down the line or so, many generations down the line, my high school clothes still fit me to this day. And I still get confused for a young person as well.
As Placer's director of research, Elizabeth LaFontaine, said, consumers of all backgrounds, even those coming from high-income households, are gravitating toward thrifts
Thank
to
God.
round out their wardrobes
Thank
and
God
embrace
that my
treasure
high school
hunting.
clothes still
Consumers
fit
are
me.
looking for the
At
right
least
mix of
most of them.
value and
There
selection
are a
that
few that
traditional
don't, but
retailers
it's
typically
very,
can't
very
provide.
small.
However, like I said, in many cases, value is no longer as attainable as it used to be, with old band t-shirts and those like it selling off the wall for $100 or more. And that same shirt you probably could have found in a bin at Goodwill for
Your
just
mom is a
$5
tiny
years
Latina.
back. During and after COVID, thrift
I
store
am
foot
not that
traffic grew
small.
steadily while traditional clothing store numbers fluctuated sharply, rising one quarter and dropping the next. Many consumers of luxury goods turned towards the secondhand market due to prices inflating between 20 and 30% during the pandemic. For example, a May survey among some 400 American luxury consumers with an average income of $250,000 and above found that 46% were hesitant to make a new purchase because they just couldn't justify the expense. And with price reductions ranging anywhere from 30 to 70% on secondhand platforms, how could they not make the change?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't find any of these like any of these brands specifically like appealing to me. It doesn't appeal my mom. It doesn't appeal me. It doesn't appeal my younger sister or my older brother. So like we just kind of shopped. We also sometimes shopped at the what's it called again? Oh, the thrift store as well. I think from time to time we would buy something new? Question mark? Like, it's very from time to time, but even then it's like the clothes that we wear. So when we were younger, like even like well, I don't know about my sister. I don't know if her high school clothes still fit her. I know my older brother has some of his high school clothes that fit him. For me, pretty much almost my entire wardrobe fits on me. So, yeah.
With the entire market concerned, thrifting and fashion as a whole was
It's
primed
just too
for another wave
expensive to
of
buy
resellers.
clothes, to be
Apparel
honest.
continues to be one of the most targeted industries by resellers and scalpers. And until a major overhaul in the consumer process, these
My
problems
question is, who the fuck buys clothes though? Like from scalpers? Like who the hell actually does that? That's my curiosity.
will continue. On top of all the financial stress being put on the thrift market, a Yale study found that due to resellers, a major goal of thrifting is being shut out, which is the reduction of waste, as the unique scenario is leading to an even bigger carbon footprint from the clothing industry. So at this point, it's just a lose-lose. Not only has scalping affected thrifting and vintage clothes, but it's also affected sneakers and streetwear, as I've covered in my videos before. But there are even more slightly niche markets being affected by resellers, like retro video games, for example. A slightly more shocking example has been happening with retro video games. And since it's more niche than some of the other industries, resellers and scalpers make up a sizable chunk of the used and collectible game market. Because of this, they have the ability to heavily manipulate the market and inflate the prices of products. Items like amiibos, new consoles on launch day, and oddities like the Nintendo Classic Edition were prime targets for scalpers, who would buy out the entire stock of a store when given the chance. And while a free market isn't always a bad thing, all the prices of everything we've seen in this video is going up at least 3 to 4 times that of the retail value. This isn't a relatively new problem facing retro games, but one that's got increasingly worse as of late. While video games are a niche collectible item compared to the trading card market, headlines were created nonetheless when an unopened, still sealed in box 1985 Super Mario Bros. Video game for the original Nintendo console sold for a record $2 million. Games that sell for the most tend to be rare, popular, still sealed in their original packaging, and authenticated and graded by a third-party company such as WATA or VGA, akin to how trading cards have long been bought and sold, often via online auction houses that specialize in such commodities. At the peak of the retro video game reselling around 2020, the top of the market has been dominated by rare copies of iconic games that have quickly gone up in price over just a few years. A 1987 Legend of Zelda game for the NES was sold by Heritage Auctions for $870,000 in July. That was the known record. Private sales are often unreported until Heritage sold a 1996 Super Mario 64 for $1.56 million. Obviously, most of the games don't sell for nearly as much, but the same effect trickled down on a smaller scale. Video games, systems, and collectibles of all kinds sold for tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, making another industry ravaged by resellers. Of course, your average scalper doesn't have the capital to get their hands on one of these million-dollar games. However, just the sheer interest caused by these sales can allow for your average Joe reseller to buy up a bunch of stock of other retro games, or like we said earlier, the Nintendo Classic, and they can purchase a lot of these lower ticket items and artificially restrict the supply. To some degree, the ethics of reselling and scalping is subjective. Some people don't have a problem with it, and others think it's what's ruining a plethora of industries, especially for the more passionate followers. It's an easy subject to be torn on, as there are varying degrees of each action. Some resell for a fair price, while others gouge diehard fans for every last penny. In general, though, I think we can all agree that when you're buying like 5 or more booster boxes and reselling them, you're kind of a jerk. However, regardless of morals, there are some
Well, for me specifically, if I can buy 5 or 4 booster boxes of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know for a damn fact I'm cracking those open immediately. If I ever do card pack openings, you know, like in the far off future or something like that, you know for a fact I will be busting those open when I get home on stream. I'm gonna be like, chat, we're gonna do card pack openings, okay? I bought me 5 booster boxes of fucking whatever, insert whatever fucking box comes out. I'd be like, I bought 5 of these and we're gonna fucking crack them open, okay? All right?
undeniable consequences. For
They're
one,
going
many
back
of these
into my-
niches have
they're also gonna go back
transformed
into
to
my
a point
folder
where
too
it
as
no
well.
longer is fun for even the most passionate fans. With Pokemon, it seems that without a couple $1,000s laying around, multiple bots, or
Like if
even
like if I did Pokemon, right, it'd be the same thing. I would just keep the cards, you know? Well, actually, to be honest, the only cards I would want the most personally is like my favorite Pokemons, and that's about it. It's like what? Let me see. What's like Garchomp? Garchomp and Gardevoir are like my up there. Like they're like my top favorite up there. My Lotec is another one. What was it? Aron? Aggron? Whatever the name of that Pokemon is called again. Metagross. Oh, what's the name? Sylveon? Sylveon? Yes, Sylveon. Sylveon. Flygon. God, I'm trying to remember these. I'm trying to remember these off the top of my head. There's so many fucking Pokemons. I'm trying to remember all of them on top of my head. To be honest, I'm so sorry. I think that might be pretty much it. But I think no. Yeah. No. Flygon. Yeah. Swampert. Yes. Swampert. Oh, Lopunny, was it Hatterene? Toxic Pex? Toxic Trex? Toxic, whatever the fuck that thing is called. Fuck, whatever, I don't know. It's kind of hard to name, like, the Pokemons that I like off the top of my head. I have to pop up my Pokemon, my Pokedex, my Alpha Sapphire to show you guys, or to basically to name them.
Godly amount of joblessness free time, you're pretty much cooked if you want a decent card or pack for your collection. Forget about playing the game. Sure, you can buy the individual cards, but kids can't have the fun experience of opening packs unless their parents shell out hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
when I was
that's
getting
the
into
fun thing
Pokemon
about
and I
it.
wanted to buy some booster boxes, I found out the hard way that unless I was at Target on day one, I would have to pay hundreds of dollars for a box on eBay or something, so it sucks. With Laboos, even though the trend is basically dead, at the time it was the same case of needing some pretty significant funding to get your hands on anything deemed cool. For thrifting, it used to be a great way to save money while still getting a style unique to you, but again, resellers saw the money and ran with it, in maybe the most persistent case. And even if you're into more niche markets, it seems nothing's safe since rare video games are selling for millions and any other hobby could be next. As the supply chain evolves, this is bound to happen.
I'm trying to think what specific hobby. Oh, art stuff. Yeah, like art supplies and stuff like that. They can't do that, to be honest.
In some degree to every industry. We just have to be hopeful that with time, bad actors will be rooted out and passionate consumers will prevail. And also, we could probably hope for companies to have more regulations, more limits, and more systems in place to combat the bots that are making things like buying a booster pack impossible.
They should,
if you like this video,
to
you
be
might
honest.
like my video on the death of hypebeast culture, where resellers hijacked streetwear and took it to a level we've never seen before.
Oh, you talk about like the Supreme thing? Yeah, I thought the Supreme thing was so corny and cheesy, to be honest. What a great video, to be honest. I like this video. That was pretty good. I like that. I like that actually. That's actually not too bad. Oh, it's a totally new topic if we were considering NFTs. Oh no. I think like the only thing that I enjoyed, like actually like, I guess you could say what, collecting? I don't know. Wow. I don't know if I would say collecting or so. It's mostly something like cool little things or so. Was like, you know, art supplies that I usually collect from time to time. Like I thought they were really cool that I would use them later down the line. That's kind of like frankly it. It was like it's like nothing really that crazy or anything like that. But yeah, nah, definitely like these people are literally just people who are just like don't have a job and just want to make money or so. These are literally just jobless behavior stuff, you know. Remember to subscribe and like the video, YouTube viewers. Well, we'll see if they like the content at the end of the day. Anyways. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. And yeah, honestly, resellers are ruining it, because I remember it used to be a thing or so where it wasn't common or so, where you just sell either used stuff or like sell things that like are like a little bit higher from like normal pricing view to get a profit in return, but that's about it. But now it has gone to a point where it has gone a little too crazy in my personal opinion. But that's just me anyways. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.